The Todoroki family's subplot, arguably the best part of the series, has finally come to an end with a bittersweet ending. 2 weeks ago, I was kinda on the fence whether I liked the decision of keeping Dabi alive, but it seems he's only barely clinging on to life for a final few words between him and the family, which I prefer much more than him straight up leaving after everything. We see each member of the family has surrounded the medical chamber Dabi is confined in. Each one of them are shown to have scarring across their faces, with Rei in particular having a gnarly scar running across her face. The last one to arrive is Shoto, and with his arrival, Endeavor announces he would be retiring from hero work. He says he was meaning to do so even before the war started, but during the battle, Dabi's flames managed to burn the hero Endeavor to death. Now, he vows that Enji will be the one that will look at him during his remaining days. He wasn't able to notice his son's pain earlier, but now will do everything in his power to keep his attention on him till his final day, just as he was doing every day ever since Dabi's confessional video came out. Now, it's not a hero watching a villain, but a father looking at his son. He knows it's too late, but he wants to try to listen, no matter what it is, even if it's nothing but hatred towards them. Same goes for Fuyumi, Natsuo, and Rei, who also want to talk with Dabi for as long as they can. As Dabi gets overwhelmed and his heart starts beating faster and faster, the doctor makes them leave so Toya's heart can stabilize. Before they leave though, Shoto has one final question. He asks what his big brother's favorite thing to eat is, and after a bit of silence, Dabi answers with soba, the same as Shoto. After hearing this, Dabi remembers how Shoto said he would make their paths collide, even if by force, which makes Toya cry real tears for the first time in the series, apologizing quietly to Shoto inside his chamber, too far away to be heard. Outside of the hospital, Natsuo informs Enji that he still won't forgive him. He will be moving away with his wife-to-be and moving forward towards his new life, abandoning his past. Fuyumi has left her teaching career but quickly has found a new position, and Shoto is continuing on his own path to become who he wants to be. As for Enji, he will continue to atone for the rest of his life, protecting his family from people's blame, even if they do not wish to have anything to do with him anymore. It might be hell on earth for him, but he will endure it all. After all, Endeavor accepted his son's invitation to a dance, but as hellish as it might be for him, he still has a few companions that still look out for him. The Todorokis had a tragic yet realistic ending. Dabi, the only person from the league that wanted to die, has to live the remainder of his days as a living corpse that can barely talk a couple of minutes a day, and it's even worse seeing how he might be, to some extent, regretting his actions, but it is far too late for that now. Natsuo stayed true to his word, and after the whole Dabi situation ended, he cut himself off from his father and moved on to a family of his own. Todoroki is now separating himself from his roots and becoming his own person. The children are moving on towards their own futures, while the father continues to apologize for his past, even if some of them have started to forgive him. The Todoroki family will never be fixed completely, just like many such cases in the real world, and that is perfectly fine. No matter how much he tries, Enji cannot erase the past. He can only strive to do better for the future of his family. I am glad how Horikoshi stood his ground and finished the plotline in such a realistic way, rather than the standard always forgiven finale that many other authors would have done. Also, besides Enji, Rei was also punished by having her not only have the biggest scarring besides Enji, but also having it from the same side as Shoto's, almost as a way of karmic justice to what she did to him in the past. Say what you will, but even though Horikoshi has shown us that Endeavor was the main problem, he showcased that Rei wasn't really without blame either, not only for burning Shoto, but neglecting Toya, being too weak to stop him before escalating to what it did. It is rare to see stories depicting both parents being responsible for the tragedy of their family falling apart, instead of one of them being the devil and the other one being a saint. So, I admire the balls Horikoshi had for depicting a more realistic situation in our reality. Overall, I feel this was a great ending for the Todorokis. We will probably see a panel or two of them in the final chapter to see if Rei and Fuyumi stuck around with Enji, because because they seem to be on a goodish terms with him, or if they left him too and moved on. The rest of the chapter shows Hawks being the new president of the Public Safety Commission. I don't know how I felt about him taking over the place that used him ever since he was a child, but that might indicate the beginning of a new era with him in charge. We meet Lady Nagant that willingly stays in prison for now due to her fear of being used again, wanting to wait and see how society will change after Izuku's actions. With Hawks being in charge, I don't really see where that fear comes from, but what can you do? Then we see Gento and La Brava get pardoned, and then at the final panel we see a comatose Spinner lying in a hospital bed while hearing the door to his room opening. Next chapter is probably Deku sending Shigaraki's final words to him, and probably Shoji and Spinner having a moment. With this ends the 5th chapter before the ending. I thought after Todoroki it would be Uraraka, but I guess that would be the week after this one. Really good chapter. Hope the rest are as good or even better. To be honest, for me, the best thing to happen out of this chapter is Dabi overtaking the Twitter trends from the presidential debates for the 2nd time in a row.